Just in time for Easter and spring brunches, we have a renowned pastry chef to provide expert baking tips for whipping up memorable desserts and making your gatherings extra special. Award-winning pastry chef Michelle Palazzo joins us to share her secrets for elevating dessert recipes at home this Easter. Welcome, Chef.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. So tell us, what makes this a special time of year for desserts and pastries?
So Easter just feels like a celebration of spring for me, and springtime is that first pop of new, fresher ingredients. And I think Easter is a perfect occasion for home chefs to try something new and really elevate their recipes by using Plugrà European Style Butter.
Oh, okay. So why is it important to choose quality ingredients?
So as an executive pastry chef at Frenchette, I can tell you that quality ingredients matter and better butter matters. Butter is such a staple in a lot of the recipes that I use. I really want to make sure that my butter really packs a punch and it has flavor and is consistent. And Plugrà European style butter is made with that 82% butter fat, which is the French standard. Whereas regular butter is only about 80%. Where that 2% may not seem like much, I'm telling you, you're going to get a flakier crust and richer results. And it's really elevated in my strawberry rhubarb eclairs that I make this time of year.
Oh my gosh, those eclairs look delicious. Okay, so as a chef, what are some professional baking tips that work at home?
So first things first is we want to understand our butter, right? So salted butter, we really just want to be using to finish things, whereas unsalted butter is your day-to-day butter. That's what we're going to be cooking and baking with. So we always want to have this as our go-to. And then we want to talk about my biggest tip is definitely temperature. The temperature of your butter really does matter. So you making things like cakes and cookies, or my beautiful sablé breton over here, we want to make sure that that butter is at room temperature and truly at room temperature. Or if we're making something like pie doughs and scones or biscuits, you want to make that butter as cold as possible. So either keep that in the fridge or keep it in the freezer.
Oh, these are helpful tips. I did not know that. Do you have any other baking tips to share with us?
Of course. So we just talked about how temperature is really important, but let's talk about texture, right? So when we're making like a cake or cookies, they're usually in those recipes, they use a method that's called creaming method. And all that is we're going to be taking that room temperature butter and incorporating it into our sugar. And what that's going to do is we're going to make a delicate and more lighter textured cake. And then, or same opposite, for like cold butter, we're going to take that nice cold butter, chop that up, keep that in the freezer for as long as possible, and then incorporate that into our dry mixture. And then we're going to add all of our wet ingredients to really then bake that. And all that steam from all that butter is going to produce super tender and very flaky results.
Oh man, I never realized, butter is such a key ingredient when it comes to baking our desserts. What are the other benefits to using premium butter specifically?
So I think Plugrà European Style Butter is a brand that I've been using for 10 plus years. It's kind of a staple for a lot of pastry chefs here in New York, and it's a staple of kitchens. So I know that using a quality ingredient like Plugrà, I'm gonna get better tasting results, aka better tasting desserts.
All right, good to know. Chef, thanks so much for joining us this morning and helping us make sure our desserts are extra tasty. For more information, visit plugrà.com.